Morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. It's going to be a quick video, I think. And this is debka.com. And this is, we spoke about the eventualities in the past, the wars, the major conflicts that I think are going to happen in 2018. And we've seen a buildup, and we see nations gathering, allying together to come together to form what appear to be these nations and these alliances spoken of in Bible prophecy. And one of the biggest nations in Bible prophecy is, of course, Persia, Iran, modern-day Iran. And their threat and their whole stated goal and purpose is to wipe Israel off the map, cause them to cease from being a nation. They want to get rid of Israel. That's their stated goal. Russia doesn't agree with them, but that is their stated goal. Common knowledge is that mainstream media will acknowledge that is Iran's stated goal, to get rid of Israel. Well, this is a debka.com article. U.S. to boost its military presence in Israel and top up Israel's advanced arsenal. Now, I think there's going to be something that takes the U.S. out of strength, but maybe not before they provide Israel with some more weaponry, some more tools in their tool belts to take care of Iran, and to give them confidence, give the idea of confidence that they can go against Iran. And this was interesting. A broad-based U.S. plan to fortify Israel's armed forces against potential military showdown with Iran has just been approved by Donald Trump. And this is from Debka File, from its military and Washington sources. It centers on the expansion of U.S. military units based in Israel and the enhancement of Israel's military capabilities to withstand possible Iranian ballistic missile attack. The Israeli Air Force will also receive a large number of Boeing KC-46 refueling tankers for lengthening its range of operation and providing more flexibility. Now, question. What do they need refueling tankers for, if this is purely defensive, or even if they simply have to go into Syria and get some things done in Syria? Well, we know that they have the range to go into Syria. The only thing they need refueling tankers for is to go into Iran to make a strike on their nuclear facilities. So it's interesting, timely, that indeed the U.S. is providing Israel now with enough KC-46 refueling tankers to be able to do a strike on Iran. Interesting, the timing here. Israel does not need refueling tankers for any other reason other than projected and assumed a strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. Isn't the timing interesting? U.S. pulls out of the Iranian nuclear deal. Iran directly goes back to refinement, enrichment of nuclear. What's the word I'm looking for? The nuclear. Boy, is it the morning? I feel like I haven't had my coffee. I think I need my coffee. They're enriching uranium for their nuclear program. That's what I'm trying to think of. And so isn't it interesting as well, now that we hear that they're speeding up their enrichment? Assad is going down to have a meeting with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, who has the technology, who has the knowledge and the plans to build nuclear weapons. Isn't it interesting that now we hear from military sources that Israel is now finally getting the refueling tankers? And what does this mean? This means, at minimum, at bare minimum, this means that they now have the ability to go into Iran and do a long-range strike on nuclear facilities. And what more I would take about this is timing. If they're getting this now they have the full capability. They know Iran is enriching. They know Iran has a stated goal of getting rid of Israel. So Israel now has all the tools in its tool belt to go ahead and take care of this existential Iranian issue if they feel the need. I believe the U.S. will be taken out of military power. They will be taken out of superpower status, probably by an economic collapse. But interesting that Israel is getting all the tools that they need prior to that economic collapse. I wonder if God is orchestrating it that way. All these things are happening for a reason. Israel's going to get what the weaponry they need before the U.S. is no longer able to provide this via economic collapse, I do believe. Because the U.S. is not mentioned in end-time Bible prophecies significantly. And they're not supporting Israel in the last days either. So this is interesting. And you also have this article is half because the NATO secretary, Stoltenberg, said last week that the alliance will not support Israel if it is attacked by Iran. So Trump is coming out here and basically giving Israel the weaponry, saying, you know what, here you go. You can defend yourself. You've shown it your strength before. This was also increased confidence in the IDF and by the civilians of Israel that they don't quite need God yet. They're not consciously saying that. But this gives them confidence in their IDF, in their military, to deal with any dangers. And so no countries are going to come to their aid, and that's okay. Israel's going to say, we can do it. We have our own strength. And they're going to be attacked, and they're going to be overwhelmed by the Gog-Magog forces. And that's when they're going to fall back. That's when they're going to say, all right, you know what, we can't do it by ourselves either. We don't have the support of the U.S. anymore. We don't have support of Western nations. The IDF can't save us. This is when they then fall back, if you will, and they recognize God, and they start calling out to God as kind of the backup plan, saying, you know what, our human strength has failed us. We're now calling on God to come save us. And that is the point at which, and not any time prior to that, that is the point at which God shows his power, comes back with miraculous, overwhelming power, and shows the world that the God of Israel is strong and still alive. And he is willing to come and save Israel as long as Israel calls out to God. And they're not at that point yet. Israel's not at that point yet. Israel's very confident in their IDF. They're a secular nation, all said and told. But there will come a point where they say, we're being overwhelmed. We can't do it under our own strength. We need God. And they will call upon God. And he will come and save them from the Gog-Magog invasion. So these are pretty significant events. We can see the buildup. It's almost like we have a checklist of things that need to happen before Gog-Magog, before God comes back in power and shows his great power. And these things are being checked off the list. They now have the IDF now has a military power. Now they can go it alone. That is the requirement for Ezekiel 38, because no other nations come to the aid of Israel. So you have NATO saying that they're not going to support Israel at this point in time. The U.S., Trump has basically said already before in the past that indeed the countries of the Middle East need to work out their own problems. The U.S. is not going to get involved and doesn't want to get involved in it outside of providing weaponry. Trump has already said that he likely wouldn't come to the aid of Israel, effectively, saying that the countries on the ground in the Middle East need to work out their own issues, and it doesn't help to have foreign countries intervening, same as we see in Syria and many other countries. It really not usually help when other countries intervene. So we can see the whole plan, the whole scenario laid out. We can see all the pieces falling into place. We can see all the leaders saying, we're not going to help. We're not going to help. Trump already said, we're not going to help. They're providing weaponry, but they're not going to go in there physically with an army. NATO has come out and said, we're not going to help. And so Israel's getting ready to do it on their own. And they're going to be overwhelmed in Ezekiel 38. And this is exactly how God planned it, because he wants them to come to the point where they have no longer have confidence in their own selves, and so that they lean on God and call upon God to save them, and he will in this day and time. President Obama withheld the new tanker craft, the new refueling tanks, so as to restrict Israel's capability to strike Iran. So Obama held Israel back from it. And I believe that's God's timing as well. The timing wasn't right for Israel to strike Iran, because that's going to trigger a whole bunch of other stuff. But now it appears God is saying, the timing's right. Israel's going to get the weaponry they think they need to go attack Iranian nuclear facilities and deal with the existential threat. And God is saying now is the time. Now they're getting their tankers. The prophetic war is not far off. I hope you guys can see this. I mean, I feel like I want to bang my head off the table, and I'm trying to be quiet because I have kids in another room. But you know, I wish other people understood this. I wish you saw this. You know, if I was a pastor, I'd be yelling right now, I'm sure, to attempt to get the point across here. So NATO will not support, the alliance will not support if attacked by Iran, which is incredible in and of itself. I mean, free nations should help free nations if they can, because I mean, you know, we always go into other nations who don't want us there. So why would we not support a nation who maybe does want us to support them? Incredible. He made a point of avoiding the impression that he subscribed to Trump's campaign against Iran so as not to put on the backs of the European members opposed to that campaign. So pretty interesting stuff. Debka Weekly has more information about this. But you can see the build-up here. You can see the progression. Like I say, I wish I could have a big checklist of things which had to happen prior to biblical prophecies to be fulfilled. And this is, you know, you almost don't know it until you see it, and you're like, oh, this is one more item checked off the list. Now Israel can go it alone, and they will be, they will start getting defeated at some point, and they will call upon the God of the Bible, and God will come back and show His miraculous power, all as God planned in the first place. So all this is coming to fruition. All the nations are aligning. All the nations are coming out verbally and saying, we will not support Israel. We will not back them up with our own forces. So incredible that the nations are coming out and saying this. So now we understand Ezekiel 38. Well, because these nations are coming out, all the nations that will not support Israel in Ezekiel 38 are coming out and saying, we will not support Israel against Iran. That is the Western nations. Now, what's the alliance going to say now when they're overrun by Gog Magog? The alliance is going to say, why are you invading Israel? But they're not actually going to come to the support of Israel. So, I mean, that's prophetic fulfillment. It's incredible, guys. I hope you understand that. I hope you know that Jesus Christ is coming soon. This is the build-up to effectively one of the wars that can be considered World War III, because there's going to be a huge number of world nations involved in this, and or sitting on the sidelines watching it, and not coming to the aid, because that's the prophetic outline of events in Ezekiel 38. And this is significant. I think this is going to happen. I think a big prophetic war is going to happen this year, and I think 2018 is kicking off kind of the last 10 years of human history, probably shorter, in fact. Israel is 70 years old. I believe they have until 80 biblically, because the Bible says that man has 70 years out of their own strength, but by reason of extra strength, 80 years, 80 years. I think that extra strength is from God, because He has some a prophetic outline to work through, and a timeline of events that's going to occur for Bible prophecy to be completely 100% fulfilled, and it will be 100% fulfilled in God's timeline. And I think that's what we see happening now. And we're in the last 10 years, if not shorter, and the 7-year tribulation is not far off. Maximum, I think, is 3 years off, but it could be even shorter than that. Stay tuned, guys. Big prophetic wars happening. I hope you know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. He died on a cross 2,000 years ago for my sin and your sin. He's coming back soon. Please share this. Please help others to know that Bible prophecy is being fulfilled as we speak. The Bible, we are living in biblical times. Read Revelation, read Daniel, read Zechariah, read Ezekiel, read Isaiah, read Matthew, read Luke. Read every book of the Bible. Most of them have some sort of prophecy in them, whether end time or related to the return, related to the first coming of Jesus Christ, etc. And these things are being fulfilled in our time. So pretty incredible stuff, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll leave it there, and we'll see you guys in the next video.